Welcome to Delay of Game, Season 1, Episode 3. I'm your co-host, Marcus. This is the Average Man's Perspective on Football. Joining me on the panel tonight is none other than Mark. Say what up, Mark.
Hey, hello.
Brian.
That's me.
And Herman.
One and only.
So we're here tonight to talk about all things related to the NFL. We got some interesting topics tonight. First of all, we'll start with Khalil Mack once again. Last week we talked about Khalil Mack a little bit. This week, just recently heard from the New York Daily News that the Jets have reached out to the Raiders to see about a possible trade with for Khalil Mack. They say, according to the New York Daily News, more than a dozen teams have made inquiries regarding Mack this season, this offseason. The Jets have not yet made a trade offer to the Raiders. Regardless of any team involved, any transaction will be complicated. My opinion on that, I don't know what's going on with the Raiders. I don't know what they're thinking. I think we might be stupid to let him go. He's a top-notch defensive player. And why you let him go to another AFC contender just doesn't make sense to me.
I definitely would let him go to a rival. I'll sit in my bed to Cowboys land or Redskins land, if anything. I wouldn't trade him within the Jets. Chances are you're going to see him again.
With the Jets, you're going to see him, but Jets never win the division.
I don't win the division, but I mean, their defense was good last year. They don't want to add more fire to that.
The Patriots not going to be on top forever. They eventually might be extended.
Yeah, well, I say that every year about the Patriots.
But again, I mean, the Raiders need. They can't let him go. They're going to need to do something. This sounds more like something that maybe his agent is floating out there to try to put more fire under the Raiders brass to try to do something for him.
I can see that
happening. But at the same time, you always find these teams that are willing to give up some type of crazy compensation. Sometimes you can't overlook certain draft picks that are offered for a player.
No doubt. If they're offering like a 1 and a 2 or 1 and a 3, you can't just like not answer that phone. You got to make that.
But Oakland has 2 draft choices, first-round draft choices next year.
So imagine that. 2 next year, plus if you got another one for Khalil Mack. And then you'll probably get possibly another one the year after that.
You could probably build up a nice team with those draft choices. Yeah. Or at least find another Khalil Mack in the draft.
Or maybe 2 to equal 1.
Exactly.
And you're not paying them that money once at this.
So, I mean, anything's possible when you think about it. But then you look at John Gruden, who likes veterans. He has a tendency to want to stock his team. Like he tries to balance it out. So would he really want all those draft picks?
That is true.
You can always use draft picks, right? I mean,
yeah, you can. You can always use draft picks.
Yeah. And I mean, but that's currency in the NFL too.
It is.
You got draft picks. Maybe I can go get a veteran, a player that I want 2, or maybe 3.
You never know which team will be interested in a player that you may have a slot or selected to take at that particular round. So it's you can negotiate with that draft choice. So yeah, definitely it's money, it's bargaining power.
The thing that I don't get, why are they at this point? I know he wants more money, but from reports that you're hearing, John Gruden hasn't even talked to the player. Why not?
that sounds crazy to me. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know what's going on there, but
I mean, Mark would have a pretty good perspective because his squad is notorious for not being star players when they get their money early. So,
Man, it's got dog my Steelers out here.
I'm not saying it's a bad decision; it's a business decision. Apparently, y'all been successful over the years, so
it's definitely
I would not say.
You pay for the value that's available, and I don't think that Le'Veon has that much years left to want that type of contract. Right now. Not from the Steelers. We don't guarantee contract. We don't. Steelers don't.
That's true. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, Mack is supposed to make $13 billion this year.
Right.
That's the end of his rookie contract.
Right. This is
he's still on his rookie contract, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
This is the thing too. Usually, like a team, and I guess because they transition to Gruden, like usually a player like him, you would re-sign him in the fourth year, actually.
Yeah.
So, you'd put in the fifth-year option, but then you'd actually sign him that fourth year to that extension. And they didn't do that. So maybe it's not Gruden, maybe it's the organization. You put in the fifth-year option, but then you'd actually sign him that fourth year to that extension. And they didn't do that. So maybe it's not Gruden, maybe it's the organization.
Oh, my bad. Hold on.
But then you'd actually sign him that fourth year to that extension. A little technical difficulty.
Sorry about that. We have a little technical difficulties here.
No, what's
It's only episode 3. What do you expect? We're working out the kinks. Even Michael Jordan didn't make every shot. What can I tell you?
Not that we comparing ourselves to Jordan.
Oh boy.
I'm the Michael Jordan of broadcast. What can I tell you? YouTuber. What can I tell you?
So it makes you wonder if it looks like it's Gruden, but is it something within the organization? Because they could have signed him to his extension last year.
Yeah.
And that's what everybody does. I mean, we just did it. The Cowboys just did it with Martin. This would have been his 5th year on his rookie contract, but
They re-upped in his
4th year. So that's the norm.
So I mean, does that mean that? Well, actually, I can't say that this dude's first year. I was trying to say, does that mean that maybe he's not in group, future plans moving in?
I don't know. It's just weird. It's a weird situation. Star defensive player. He's one of those star gems that teams hunt for.
And I know I can't recall him having like a lot of injuries.
No.
Not missing the time for it anyway.
He's considered the best defensive player in the league right now, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, no background, no issues, with the police or
nothing like that. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. So.
Well, the Redskins are always welcome. They'll take it.
We know y'all playing 400 or 500 million where y'all.
Speaking of which, how do y'all feel about the Redskins signing Adrian Peterson?
How do you feel about it? That's your team.
Well, I mean, Adrian Peterson, he's on the downside of his career. He didn't do much in Arizona or New Orleans last year. He's just there to fill out the roster for training camp. I don't think he's even going to make the final cut.
Oh, he has to. Yeah, he has to. I mean, Perrine is supposed to be back.
He's hurt, but he should be back. I think by the beginning of the season.
You don't sign Adrian Peterson this late, this close to the season, and he's going to be there at least. With him, the first year after the first, if he's on the roster for the first game, he's guaranteed for the year, I believe. His contract is a veteran contract. So I can't see him even signing a contract for 2 weeks.
Well, the thing is this, though, he did sign for the veteran minimum when he went to the Redskins. I mean, he didn't have a ton of offers. He's really just excited, I think, to get on the team. And I mean, Marcus does make a valid point. They don't have any running backs. From what I heard on the news report, they're basically going to run him in the ground this next preseason game. They already said that P. Ryan's not playing. Thompson's not playing. And I don't even know if Pat Rob is he playing?
You mean Robert Kelly?
Yeah.
Sure. I think too, you keep Peterson around because he's still good. Your young players, veteran expectation or a veteran's view of in the locker room. So I think as far as the locker room presence, he will be significant for that.
I feel like I'm not sure who the free agent running backs are that were out there, but had they waited like Kansas City just released Wes.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of jumped the gun just a little bit. Like if Perrine was going to be back, you're going to have him for week 1. You can always go get a body just to fill in for the preseason game. And then you start to wait for the cuts because the cuts are coming. You're going to get something a little younger than Peterson. We don't know what Peterson could and doesn't do, but how does he fit into your offense?
That's the big question. That's the other big question too. How will he? Because Peterson's the type of running back that he needs carries. He needs that ball, and I don't think that's Gruden.
Yeah, that's not the Redskins.
I can't recall them just running somebody into the ground to win a game. Who's gonna go to that pass eventually?
We need receiving backs, and I just, the first thing I thought was how does he fit into your offense? And it's almost like the Redskins just signed him kind of just for a name a little bit too.
Like I said, I think he got signed just to be a body in training camp. They needed need some running backs, to play these rest of these preseason games. And that's why I say he might not make the cut.
I think he's on the roster week 1.
I think Redskins should have called DeMarco Murray.
Yeah, I would have tried to get him out of retirement.
I think he fits more of their type of style of running back. He didn't have too many significant bad injuries that would have stopped him from coming up. But I think I made a call for him.
Yeah.
I don't disagree because he did have a good season last year too. He did get hurt, but he didn't when he was playing. He was having a good season.
And the only reason he really retired, he just didn't get any much interest.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's going to be one to watch. I don't know how that one's going to work out for this.
Stay tuned.
Speaking of free agency, this is a transition to Brian wanted to go over some of the top free agents still left out there, and we'll discuss them a little bit.
So recently, it has been like a flurry of different players, changing teams and doing big things. I mean, there are a lot of the big ones that everybody knows about, Kirk Cousins, and what's going to happen with them in Minnesota. But what I did was took a minute and looked at the free agents that are still out there that haven't been signed and try to figure out, thought we could ponder why they still aren't on an NFL roster at this time. Some of the names are pretty much well known that we associate with different teams. The first one I had down was a running back. These are my top 5 that I picked out that I'm kind of concerned why they aren't on an NFL team. Orleans Darkwa, who played with the Giants last year. He had almost 800 yards, 751 yards rushing last year. He did have 5 TDs, and he's still a free agent. He is only 26 years old, and I believe it's only like his 2nd or 3rd year that he had actually played and put some, miles on the tires. The next one that kind of caught my eye that I had completely forgot about was Julius Thomas, the tight end that initially was with the Denver Broncos, and Peyton Manning made famous with the touchdowns when he had that 50 touchdowns that year. He was with Miami last year. He is 30 right now. Last year, he didn't have a great season. He only had 41 receptions for 388 yards and 3 touchdowns. And then I sat back and I thought about it. I was like, well, who was throwing? So that kind of, I think may have explained that. But then again, he's not on a roster. So what is wrong with him? The other one was a defensive tackle, Jonathan Hankins, with the Colts. Now he's a big boy who sits in the middle, who puts pressure. Gets that offensive line pushed back so that you can some pressure with those linebackers. And I mean, last year he had 44 tackles, and he had 2 sacks. Now it wasn't great, but he's still a presence. And there are a lot of teams out there that could use some defensive line help. I'm just curious why he's still out there. He's only 26. The other one we had is a Redskin. I don't know how this got on my list, but Freeman. He was actually a very good corner last year. He did have 50 tackles. He only had 1 pick, but he was very productive for the Skins last year. Got hurt, was coming back, and actually had a big lucrative deal with Carolina that fell out on him. Ever since then, nobody's really talked about him, signed him, or done anything with him. So, I mean, he could be an injury issue, but it makes you think. And then last but not least is Dez Bryant. Everybody wants to know where Dez is going. Of course, he had a meeting with Browns last week, which is apparently going to be airing on Hard Knocks now. But Dez actually had a decent year. I was really upset with him last year, but I mean, he had 838 yards. He did have 6 touchdowns. Dez is 29. He has some tread on the tires, but he is still a productive receiver, and it's kind of baffling that he hasn't signed with another squad.
Yeah, that's interesting what you said about Darkwa. Like we just talked about the Redskins. They know Darkwa.
Yeah.
He's 26, and he was decent with the Giants.
Because they played against him against the Giants
twice a year.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they have gone out and got him? That goes back to me saying, I think name. It's about signing a name. So, yeah,
I mean, because like if you put like only Darkwa to Peterson, I mean,
right.
I think Darkwa had more of an upside if you plan on keeping it. But if it's like Marcus's point where he's saying he's probably just a hand body, then that makes it a little.
why even then? Like, still, why not Darkwa? What if you bring him in as a camp body, but whoa, these guys shows out? You know, you might have had you got a running back, a 26-year-old running back.
And you can stick it to the gun.
Yeah,
And I think Darkwa has more to prove than Adrian does.
exactly.
So you get a hard runner, or somebody who's trying to make a name for himself more so than Peterson.
Way more motivation.
The only other reason I was thinking about Williams Darkwa not being on the squad too is because they did change coaches. So I mean, maybe he didn't fit this.
Who, the Giants? Well, yeah. They,
But he didn't finish the season with
they
it.
did. Or was it hurt?
No, he didn't finish the season with okay. He finished. I think I want to say when he went New Orleans.
I guess the Giants knew what they were going to do once the season really started to go downhill for them. They knew what they were going to do. And Breland, he talked to the Chiefs, I thought, and was close to signing with them after the Carolina thing fell through. But they never pulled the trigger. So even though he's claiming he's past the physical, he can pass it now. Maybe teams are finding something that they're just not liking. And then of course with Dez, it all comes down to Dez. In my opinion, Dallas didn't use him properly as best as they probably could have last year. He almost had 1,000 yards. But his sideline stuff, the way that it's been portrayed that he is on the sideline. I don't know if anybody out there, if you watched the Dallas Cowboys series on Prime Video, but they showed some stuff with Dez on the sideline. Now you can see why there was a little contention with Dez with the team, because in some of the meeting rooms and stuff, like I won't say he kind of went off on one of the coaches, right? Because the coach was talking about how good the team was that they was getting ready to face that week. And Dez went off. He was like, Coach, why don't you talk about how good we are? How coaches always get that talk about, if you don't cover this guy, or this corner is good, this and that. So it kind of goes off on the coach. And so you can see a little bit of contention, in the room with that, and that happened. But it was a quick thing. It was a Sunday. It was a primetime game. Dallas was playing. I can't remember who they were playing, but Dez. I think it was a Sunday night game because Dez was on the sideline. He kept walking around doing like this, and making gestures and stuff. So the broadcast is saying Dez is complaining because he's only been thrown spots, right? But they played it back, and they played Dez's audio, and Dez was actually talking about them going into that they had went man coverage twice. They did it twice, and that's what he was walking up and down the sideline saying. So everything that's portrayed about Dez may not be 100% true. You know what I'm saying? We talked about this with the media and stuff. So I thought that was really interesting. But there does come a little bit of baggage with that. I think any team that signs him, they're going to need a very strong veteran quarterback.
Well, speaking of that, the Patriots receiving core is getting really, really thin. They just let go of Kenny Britt, and they got rid of Jordan Matthews and Malcolm Mitchell. And, Julian Edelman, he's one with suspended for 4 games. Mm-hmm. So New England seems like it might be a decent spot for Dez Bryant. That's where the trouble, the problem kids go to, act right and further their career. That's a good spot, I think, for him to land.
He's not a terrible route runner, but he's not the best route.
And he's not. I don't know if he's a Brady type receiver. Brady wants you where you're supposed to be when he's going to throw that ball. Dez did well when he was with Romo because Romo improvised. When Romo would improvise. That was Dez's thing. That was Dez's deal. So that's how it worked. And then the first year with Dak, he was able to do some of that too. But some of these quarterbacks, they're in the pocket. They're expecting you to be where you're supposed to be. And I don't know if Dez is that type of wide receiver forever.
Well, I think Belichick can make him that type of wide receiver. I mean, if he still wants to play football, if he wants to be on the team and contribute,
how old was Randy Moss?
He'll do what he has to do.
How old was Randy Moss when he went to the
Randy Moss ran 2 routes.
That's true. But then you run Dez a couple routes. What's he strong at?
Randy, go.
But Dez, run him on the slings, let him break a tackle,
yeah,
and get out there and go. Don't ask too much of him.
I think New England would be smart enough if they got him. They would use him at his best advantage. I think they would do that. Yeah. But to say of course, if he goes to New England, he has to buy into the New England way. Is Dez
Everybody
mentally
does.
set to do that?
Everybody does. I don't know what it is in the water there.
I don't know.
But
Not everybody
does.
didn't do it. There are a lot of people that just went there to have a cup of coffee and left.
All Dez wants is a cup of coffee
That's
for 1
right.
year.
Yeah.
You know, but they seem to buy into it.
But that's an interesting. That'd be an
I mean, because
interesting team.
remember last year there was a Eagles player, Robert Lyman. He was talking about the Patriots way and how he hated it and how it was terrible.
Actually, there's at least two guys that did that. That said that.
It's you know, few and far.
Yeah.
But,
Oh yeah.
but I mean, if you're a team, you're looking for, you know, you have a need. Why not go get the? I mean, honestly, Dez is the best wide receiver out there, free agent wide receiver out there. Right?
Yes.
But why not go ahead and sign him? I mean, he can't be asking for too much because the season's about to start. No one else has shown any interest. He can't be like, well, Cleveland's blowing up my phone.
His biggest mistake was not signing with Baltimore.
It was.
That's true. Baltimore was the best deal on the table for him. He declined that. He turned that down.
He didn't want the multi-year. He wanted. I don't know if it was more than 2.
They wanted more than 2 years out of it.
He didn't want that. Why? You know, that's the question.
I guess he wants like a show me year.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, hey, this is the day that y'all remember, 2014. You know.
Yeah, because he had 2 bad years with the Cowboys. Not bad, but not
800 yards is bad.
for
Yeah,
a first round
number one
draft pick.
receiver, absolutely.
And yeah, number one receiver. I mean, put that up against Julio. You know, put that up against Antonio Brown.
Put that up against that little building.
Heck, Thielen from Minnesota.
Yeah.
He wasn't supposed to be
Draft
at number
special.
1.
Special.
And he was an undrafted free agent.
Yes.
You know, so yeah, if you look at 800-something yards from the first round draft pick who dominated at times, it's bad.
That's underachieving.
Definitely.
But I mean, as a whole, last year the Cowboys had a bad year with Zeke being out. They couldn't do what they really wanted to do, and the whole offense suffered. So I mean, do you really put that on Dez?
Oh yeah. Not the whole season, but he was
Yeah.
not helping the situation. He wasn't helping.
I mean, if Dez had to be covered, you know, they couldn't bring that safety down and shut down that run.
Yeah.
You know, so even without Zeke, Dallas could have had a better run game, but Dez never pulls that safety out of the box anymore.
Yeah, they were covering Dez with 1 point for
Yeah.
the majority of the
For
season.
most of the games I saw, it's like Dez and Dak was kind of not really on the same page with a lot of.
They weren't to a
Lot of
point.
time.
Yeah, and
But I think that has to do with the fact that Dak was expecting Dez to be at a certain point at a certain time on the play. He knew what the play was
That's what
supposed to be.
Yeah.
He knew what route he was supposed to be running. He wasn't there. So, and Dak's not going to just throw the ball up willy-nilly, you know.
he will protect the ball.
Right.
That's the thing. He's not going to always go for that jump ball. So, and you know, when Romo was there, he was willing to do
Yeah.
that. You can't blame Dak when
And
some
then,
of the
too-
balls hit him right in the hand and pop right off of there.
And then Dez wasn't like fully healthy, you know, the year before. So
That's true.
when he was
Yeah.
with Romo, he was pretty much healthy. So Romo felt more confident. You know, when it's 1-on-1 and you throwing up in the air, you know, Dez gonna get the ball.
I think the key thing is confidence. Romo had so much confidence in Dez Bryant that if he threw it in his area, Dez will make the adjustment, will make the catch.
And at the same time, too, Romo didn't care. He was the starter. Nobody was going to replace him. Dak was trying to.
Which say he wasn't looking over his shoulder.
Yeah, he wasn't looking over his shoulder. Not to say that Dak was really looking over his shoulder, but hey, he was a 4th round draft pick, and if he wasn't working out at that point, we could have went to anything. You know, so and Dak's game has been that way in college. He protects the football, and you know you want that in your quarterback. You want him to be a risk taker. He has to find that balance. I think as Dak goes on and gets more confident, he'll find that balance where he'll actually risk it a little bit more.
So is Dak on the hot seat this year, or
I don't
is
know.
he safe?
How either.
I think the front office is really bought into that. And why? I mean, this is his 3rd year. You get 2 more years on the rookie contract. Well, no, it's just 4 on the because he's a 4th round draft pick.
But you still have him in the contract.
Yeah, you still have
that rookie contract.
Yeah, for
So,
2 more years.
And that hasn't looked terribly bad. He's been a game manager. He hasn't looked terrible.
And I mean, we were 9-7 last year. Like we had a bad year, but we were 9-7 and a game out of the playoffs. That's
without the best player. on the
without
field,
right,
so-
exactly. And so you put that back on the field, and you're banking on returning right back to what you were before. It takes pressure off of Dak. Everybody's like, well, he doesn't have a number one receiver, but the stats have shown that Dak is actually better when he spreads the ball around. So, it's a wait and see type of approach. But I feel like the Cowboys front office is sold on Dak. You don't see us bringing in a veteran to back him up. We're backing him up with a fifth rounder, I think, this year.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp.
And White too, another quarterback. So, yeah, I think he's sold. I don't think he's on the hot seat. I think they want him to feel as comfortable as possible so that he can succeed.
Okay. So the biggest thing this preseason has been the new helmet rule. I think it's been called. They said it's been called like 53 times so far.
In the preseason,
out of the 33 games that have been played, there's been flagged 55 times for illegal hitting. This, I think, NFL is trying to be like the leader in the trend of this type of safety as far as the helmet rule. The helmet rule shows going to impact some of the games this season. You can take this helmet rule and it's going to probably be much just like the catch rule. The interpretation of what the intent is going to be a little bit kind of sketchy. You'll find it in a referee in a crucial game could make a call and get a player thrown out of the game for the particular rule.
So you can't be thrown out for.
It's just like targeting.
It's just targeting.
I think they're probably going to pull back on the refs from ejecting anybody. It would have to be very
egregious.
flagrant.
It has to be egregious. There's no question. Your intent is to hurt somebody. I think that's when they'll do it.
But is intent part of the rule?
I think that's what the interpretation was, that the intent is what's going to get you. It's what the referee thinks that you're intending to do. That you're intending to do.
You're choosing to lower your head
yes.
to make contact.
Well, this is the thing. From what I've read about it, is it basically states if you lower your head to make contact with another player, it's a foul. So I'm going to give you a different approach because I coached youth football, right? So we taught our kids to tackle with your heads up. That is the NFL program.
Yep.
Tackle with your heads up, with your head up. You see what you tackle. You're talking about ages, 5 up to 12, 13-year-olds, right? You teach them that. Okay. Then when they get into high school, the coaches in high school, from the things that I've seen, I'm just giving my opinion, all they're really worrying about is winning. Okay. They put their best players on the field and they want to win. If the kid's not tackling properly, they don't really coach it up that much. They might mention it to them, So, and then you get to college, and it seems like it's pretty much the same thing. They're so intent on winning, they're not looking at the things that are going on.
Well, they do have a helmet rule in college, and as a matter of fact, they'll kick you out of the game if you get that flag. They kick you out of the game.
Well, but the thing is, I'm talking about the coaching of it. Because, when you sit there and coach a kid in football, and you pound it into their head, and you stay on top of them the entire time about it, it becomes like a little bit of second nature to keep it on. When you get to the top level of football, these are professionals. And I have seen some of the worst tackling ever in football games, where players just not just lowering their heads, they just throw their bodies,
throwing their shoulder and everything.
Yeah, and these are the professionals.
Yeah.
It is totally ridiculous. And then I can't say I blame the NFL, because then when their careers are over and their heads are all messed up or whatever, then they want to say, well, the game did it to me. It's a violent game, it is. But if you follow some of the techniques that you should, it may not be as violent, like the linebacker from the Steelers. That was the worst. He did. I hate that it happened to him, and he did that to himself.
He didn't look at what he was hitting
at all. Head down, right into the other player, almost paralyzed himself for life. So I get why the NFL is doing it, and it is going to be a mess in the game itself, the flow of the game, and all that stuff. But it's a simple thing. See what you hit, and you won't get called. Now, if they start calling it, and they aren't lowering their head, then the NFL has a problem. But if you see what you hit, they can't call it because the rule is don't lead with the crown of your head, with the crown of your head. You know what I mean? You see it all the time. The players need to. I know you want to out there and play the game, but you got to think about protecting yourself too.
So right now it can't be overturned by instant replay, right?
No.
See, in college, I think they're required to look at the instant replay.
College, yeah.
They do. They always do but they look at it to determine if
The intent.
or if they're going to eject you.
Yeah.
Because the hit will come, they'll call the penalty, and then they'll go look at it and decide if you did have intent or not to actually, that's what you were trying to do. But like you said, Brian, you said you don't want to miss the tackle. You're more likely to miss the tackle if you don't see the person you tackle.
Yeah. And then all of that too, you like to be on Sports Center, you want that big.
Right, that's exactly. See blowing somebody up.
Well, we all those big hits. Those hits be like, ooh.
Yeah. That helps get you paid too. Yeah. Oh, he's a big hitter. Yeah, we got to sign him.
But you can hit like that and still do it properly. That's the thing. It's a business for the NFL. They're trying to, everybody's on the NFL about CTE, players getting paralyzed. And it's such a violent game. It is a violent game because you have big, strong people running fast into each other.
And what they don't realize, the most violent part is between the lines.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's where all this drama is
every
play.
They're cramming into each other.
They say it's a car wreck every play.
Yeah. It's a mess because of the way that it's being officiated. I think the intent and the idea behind it is good. You just have to, just like every time they put a new rule in, it's going to be a little messed up at first.
And that's what they betting on, is that the change will be so simple. Everybody's going to be able to adjust to it, that it becomes normal. This will be the normal way.
Yeah,
that's what they put in the thinking.
It's like when they introduced the no hitting above the head and shoulder area. It was the same thing when they introduced that. I think there was problems with that, and people were like, "Where am I supposed to hit them now?" and stuff like that. The players just have to adjust their games. I mean, they pay good money to do this right.
My hope is that right now, what were the statistics? How many times did they call it?
So far in the 33 games, 55 flag kick points.
I'm hoping, normally when they do, they're kind of excessive in the preseason, and then it kind of evens out and mellows. So I'm hoping that happens with this rule too, because I'd hate to see a team, a critical play and they get a flag or a critical play ejected over, this rule being done, and it wasn't a just call.
Now the thing too, I heard them talking about was, this is supposed to be offensive and defensive.
Yeah.
But they've been calling the majority of them on the defenses.
Yeah.
So as a running back, you have to lower your shoulder, but not your, not
That's
your
my
head.
most nervous part. Is like down in the goal line. You're trying to get those couple inches.
Yeah, I don't think you'll see. I wouldn't think you would see them call it down there. Like if they call it down there, you totally change the game.
But that also changes your coaching strategy. Also, you can't do a pound the goal line. Crush rush.
You can't really even do the quarterback sneak.
No, you can't. No.
Sorry, Tom.
Because think about it, your body is led by your head. Your body is leading with the head. So that's gonna change.
Yeah, it is. There is some some interpretation on it too by the refs. Like they're gonna have to clean it up. But I think they'll get it. I mean, like I said, when they get the head and contact to the head area, that was a little messy at first, but eventually they cleaned it up.
Yeah, and you don't even really hear him talk about it that much anymore.
When that foul is called or that penalty is called, it is pretty egregious. You're like, yeah, that had to have been called. So they cleaned it up. It's just a matter of the new rule. Everybody adjusted to it, and everybody, of course, is going to complain about it right now.
And it did modify the catch rule some that made it more now, a little bit more understanding of what is a catch and what is not.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. I think they redefined the verbiage in it to made it seem more simple. You have to capture the ball and control the ball without the whole catch.
And you know when they years back when they implemented the dog collar rule, they used to complain about that all the time. But
I'm not sold. What'd you say, Marcus?
I said a couple of years ago when they implemented that dog collar rule, they would complain about it all the time. Now you don't hardly ever see that anymore either.
They did. They got that.
A horse collar?
Horse collar.
Yeah, I'm out for the horse collar. I say dog collar.
Yeah,
A collar is a collar. Horse collar, dog collar, it's all the same.
Yeah, you're right. The horse collar is hardly ever called anymore.
It is.
The players have adjusted to it. That was the Roy Williams rule.
Roy
right
Williams,
there.
yeah.
He was breaking ankles like a
He
mug.
broke T.O.'s ankle, didn't he?
Yeah.
Wasn't that T.O. he broke?
And he had to rehab the whole, that whole time to try to play in the Super Bowl.
Mhm. But yeah, it'll be an adjustment. But yeah, the catch rule, we're going to see about that one. And what's so funny is everyone's so focused right now on the lowering your head rule
Yeah.
that when that catch rule comes up, it's going to be a head scratcher like, what was it supposed to be?
Because I haven't heard about it since
Like the
it's been
spring meetings or something
yeah.
like that. Yeah, they haven't talked much about it. So they came out and made the changes and
Not
that
even
was
in the
it.
preseason game. I don't remember saying was that a catch.
Nah.
No.
Yeah, they're gonna it's gonna be kind of interesting.
Hey Marcus, you had some news about the rule that Mark was talking about that had just came out about the NFL.
Well, they apparently added some conditions to it without announcing it. So now they've added a little language to it. Incidental contact by the player's helmet with an opponent shall not be a foul. So they say it was incidental contact.
So probably if you lower your shoulder to make the tackle, your head's kind of down.
Or like you both were going down
Yeah,
or something like that. Yeah.
And there was one in the game the other night where both the runner and the tackler was blowing their head at one time. They called it on the defensive guy. I can see them
Was that the
changing
Jets
that.
thing?
I believe it was.
That's the thing. They're gonna have to figure out a way. It's not. Sometimes these players do kind of, and I'm not saying they should, but they lower their head to protect themselves a little bit too. And that running back is coming at you with his head already down.
Right. You kind of going.
You can't just stand straight up and act like you're going to tackle him.
Get blitzed.
You're trying to get lower than him. So.
It seemed to me like, especially if you have a group tackle, you have multiple people trying to tackle a player, it's kind of hard to not get the helmets.
At that point, unless you see a guy come spearing in with his head, I think you have to just leave it alone. I think the refs have to kind of learn to, and like Brian said, they'll probably back off a little bit from it. They're trying to, make it a point right now to help them adjust to it. And I think they'll back off, and I would hope. You don't want to see the NFL get like the NBA either, where they kind of turn their head on a foul at a critical point in the game. I don't want to see that.
Or certain players.
Call a foul. You get
The Michael Jordan rule.
Like that.
I ain't seen that.
You don't want to see that in the NFL.
You don't want to see that stuff. They don't want to see that star player get ejected.
Exactly.
Has anybody been ejected?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
But it can be. And you're gonna get one. I'm sure you're gonna get some safety flying in who wanted to take that shot, and he's gonna probably get it. Get ejected for it.
See, in college, you get ejected. There's no if you get the penalty called against you, you're ejected.
No, it's not. I don't think it's automatic.
Yeah, it's automatic.
But ball targeting, yeah. But that they review it though. They always.
I've very rarely seen it overturned.
Oh yeah. It very rarely gets overturned. That is true.
So I guess that's it for the night. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching the broadcast. Be sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notified when we go live and everything we post. I want to give a shout out to sportsintel.net. You can also go over there and they're going to be embedding this broadcast in their site. Go over there and take a look at their site. Got some good articles on there. We'll be back next week.
No, week after.
So we got the next.
Your vacation.
Yeah.
We'll be back. We got the next same time, same channel. Thanks for coming out.
We roll out. We are going to have our fantasy preview on our next episode, and we're also going to get into predicting, who we think are going to do well. What's going to happen during the season.
Speaking of fantasy, you guys should definitely tune in for that. I am a fantasy master. I'm a guru of God. I can get you the most wins. I may not get you the Super Bowl, but I can get you the most wins in the season. I do it every year.
How many years?
Champion.
You got 3 champions, Marcus.
So be sure and tune in and pay attention to my picks. But anyway, that's it. We're out. Have a good one.
All right.